Yourself through the race with vehicle and asset finance from ABSA. Today, tomorrow, together.
It's round one at the ABSA Off-Road Championship, the Nissan Dealer 400 in the Western Cape in Darling. A championship year full of promise with a new category, new names and faces, and then all the usual suspects ready to take their place on the podium lineup. Darling has over the last 5 years signalled the season opener with a dry, hot and dusty race that sets the tone for the remaining 7 brutal races in the ABSA Off-Road Championship. And it's here that the team set out their stalls for their quests and goals that they've earmarked for the year. The route for the Nissan Dealer 400 was definitely more technical and exacting than previous runs in this part of the world, and would, on the balance of evidence, need an intelligent mix of car-preserving and tactical new to get man and machine to the finish line, all still in working order. Nissan won no less than 7 out of 8 production car races in 07, and the other manufacturers were all ready to topple them from their lofty perch. With that performance, it was inevitable that they would clinch the manufacturer's trophy, another accolade that Toyota and Ford won't want to rest from their grip. And no better place to start their campaign but on the Western Cape coast of Southern Africa, in a sleepy, dreamy town where retired businessmen mix with artists and where farmers drink coffee with graphic designers. An eclectic mix, a bit like off-road racing actually. Duncan Foss is the defending champ.
It's the first time I've started with number 1 on my car, so we had a really good year last year. We tested the cars yesterday thoroughly, and the cars are very good, so hopefully we can have a good season.
And what are Duncan's thoughts on the Darling layout?
It's a great route. It really suits our type of cars. It's pretty fast. There's quite a variety. There's some mountainous sections and some low sort of fast sections which we like. So we've always been competitive here, and I'm sure we're going to be competitive. The cars felt really good yesterday.
Jean Moore has also joined the red and white stable, riding shotgun for a legend.
I'm with Hannes Krobler this year. In the end of last year with Ford, Brandon Arcus was going to go back to A-class, and I wanted to stay in an SP. I think the SP is like the Dakar car, and it's the future of off-road racing, and therefore I put my application in to come and navigate for Hannes, and that's where I am.
Ford's team manager Neil Woolridge was the epitome of positivity, and with very few changes, consistency was key.
2008, whole new season, whole new start. I wouldn't say a whole new team, but some newcomers in the team. We've still got the same 2 SP cars from last year, which we've done some minor mechanical changes too, but the bodywork is the big change in the car. They look like the latest Ranger, which is out now, so it's the big change. We've got Mark Ferguson and Craig West who have joined us in the sister SP car, so we're looking forward to some good things from them. I think it's going to take them a little bit of time to sort of get going, so I'd say by sort of half season at least we'll have them up and running. And then the Class E car, we've got Jack and Lucia again. They've stayed in the Class E car. Unfortunately, the new 3-litre diesel is not ready yet, so we're hoping to have that ready more than likely for Sugar Belt. So we're expecting some really exciting things from that Class E car. I really think that if it's driven properly, I don't think there's much that's going to come close to it, because it's a very powerful engine, and we've proved that the suspension and the range and whole is fantastic. So we're expecting some fantastic things from the new Class E car. SP car, we've got some changes coming later in the year. So I think to start off the year, it's going to be a bit of a difficult year for us. I think everyone's aware that we're a little bit down on power compared to the other guys, but we have got some changes coming later on in the year, so we need to just get some valuable points for the first couple of events and make sure we finish, get the points, and keep it on the road.
Not that there's much road to talk of out there. 26-time bike and off-road champ Alfie Cox was still in the black and silver Motorrite colours, but in a different vehicle.
The strategy of Motorrite was to have 1 SP and 1 Sandmaster. It makes sense for our TV coverage, and me having the experience of coming from the pickups, Evan decided that I should go into the pickup, and we've got this SP Motorrite pickup that we've just bought from Mark Ferguson, and yeah, I haven't had any time in it, but it's a big change and a new challenge for Motorrite and myself as well, you know, to go. There's the SP class, as you know, there's more than 12 or 13 guys in the class, and it's going to be pressure all the way.
Toyota came mightily close to clinching a win last season, but Lady Luck certainly wasn't strapped into the back seat with them in 07. However, with the new year comes new things, and a lot of blood, sweat and gears had been put in already.
Yeah, the guys have done a lot of work on the car. I mean, it's just been such a mountain to climb for them, but they've done wonders. I think the car is going to be really, really good, but time will tell.
And time, as in any form of motorsport, is what it's all about. Time and reliability and growth, that is.
Well, it's fantastic to see. I mean, growth in any class is always good to see. I mean, they're saying that the sport is in quite a good, healthy situation. Toyota are putting in a tremendous amount of effort, you know, giving the privateers the backing they deserve. And it just shows in the quality of the field. I mean, if you go back in the field, you'll see that many of them are actually Toyotas.
For the Bloemfontein-based Rubicon team, the husband and wife duo of George and Sharon Barkhuizen were upgraded to the SP class.
Yeah, during last year, I've always wanted to upgrade to the SP class. And in the last year, I spoke to Wemi from Toyota, and Yuki de Brain's car was available, and they made it available to us. So in the last year, after the Carnival City, we took the car home back to our workshop, stripped it down completely, rebuilt it, and just made it back to this event.
Motorite have, since they filled in their first off-road entry form, had a massive impact. This year, they were defending the Special Vehicle Category Championship.
I think it's actually easier, you know, you always want to go and win it. Now we've managed to win it, we're defending it, so theoretically the pressure's onto everybody else. Yeah, it's not going to make much difference to our strategy and what we do in the year. We do the same type of preparation, we put in the same amount of effort to go to every race. So yeah, we've proved that we are quick enough to win in the class, and we're going to try and take a conservative year. You know, we were quite conservative last year. Unfortunately, we had a few problems. I think near the end of the year, it all came together. We had a little bit of luck on our side, but this year we're just going to do the same old thing. You know, there's no pressure. Like I said, we've got the #1 plate. We've got a fast car. We've got a good car. It's tried, it's tested. So yeah, a lot more relaxed than I was this time last year.
In the Special Vehicle category, the ability gaps had closed again. The depth in the competition was noticeable, and the teams knew it. Regent were raring to go.
Well, I've been fortunate to be able to race my second year of driving with a new car. Obviously, thanks to our sponsors, Regent Insurance, a new sponsor, WorldNet Logistics, and National Mobile, amongst Cargo Motors. It's been an exciting project with Brandon Harkis and BAT. And I'm so excited. It's going to be a test session today. We've done 40 Ks of testing. 1 or 2 small problems, but I still think we've got a winner here. It's going to be very exciting, and yeah, hopefully not disappointing. I think Mark Corbett and myself both got new cars, but the Spec 4 is just absolutely dynamite.
The V6 racers had a new category Class P, and for the defending Class S champ, Richard Schilling, it was exciting times.
This new class, it's for V6s, up to 4 litres. I think it's a class which is going to grow very, very quickly. I think we've got 5 cars here. We'll probably have 10 by Eastern Cape. Well, you know, the big change is that you can now, or we don't have Class S, which was for beams, ARM cars. We've converted our old S car to an ARM car, and we're really looking forward to having a go out there. Some good competition too.
In the 2008 ABSA off-road season, there's a lot to race for, and it was all getting ready to go in Darling in the Western Cape.
Vehicle and asset finance from ABSA, going the extra mile to get you financed.
This is your life at its most intense.
A rush, the sound of speed, the ultimate hit. Your eyes expand, your heart beats, your pulse quickens.
This is life at its most intense.
The sound blows your ears, your mind, your sanity. You're out of your seat, the glamour has you gagging.
Yes, this is your life.
There will be no pause, no break, no stopping. This is your life at its most intense. This life begins now.
I see the world smiling back at me. Think about where you really are. No matter where you are, you're never ever too far. You're on top of the world, and there's no other place that you'd rather be. You got the world in your hands, can't you see it? You better believe it.
That's the world record. Graham Smith and Mackenzie will go into the record books for great reasons. This is a world record for the first wicket in test matches. Partnership of 414, beating the previous test of 413 held by Pankaj Roy and Vinu Mankar. That record was intact for 52 years.
Fantastic. What a monumental moment, historic moment for South Africa.
Vehicle and asset finance from ABSA, going off the beaten track to find solutions.
The prologue is a short time start to the racing proper and gets the faster teams a dust-free ride on a long 400 k's of racing the next day as the order is settled. It's a slightly longer experiment of 70 k's, whereas most of the prologues have been in the 40 to 50 kilometer region. I'm Arnold Getz, and joining me for commentary, Rob Vega.
The Nissans in a new livery with a blue trim were out first, and Hannes Grobler's SB Nissan Navara 4-litre growled along pretty rapidly. In car, and Moran Grobler headed off immediately. But they missed the left turn through the gate there, and the wrong slot cost valuable seconds right here for the three-time champion Grobler.
And that would have got the ears of the defending champion Duncan Voss perking up. He and veteran Ralph Pitchford were hurtling along, pushing their Nissan Navara, aiming for the fastest clocking and a top-of-the-class move.
Through gate. Okay, right. Got to go right. And in sharp left, through gate, sharp left. Straight. Okay, there might be a stop here. Okay, no stop, keep going. Just follow the road. Stay next to the fence.
Cronje and Burke, national rally champions in class last year, were trying to be quick, yet to conserve the Castrol Toyota Hilux with its big 4 litres of grunt, and the berms of Darling was devastating on car and body alike. Cronje and the stately Birkin form a yin and yang relationship, one all fiery, the other calculated and quiet.
Happen right. Happen right. 100, big contour and then through gate. The big drop on the side, yeah, big drop. Slowly. Caution and hold on the right-hand side. Caution, hold right.
Chris said caution, but I don't see Cronje taking his foot off. This man knows only one way, pedal to the metal. And he missed the hole too.
The Ford duo of Neil Woolridge and Connie Schaldhammer started off like the Clappers too and was 7th, just 60 seconds off the pace early on, and they weren't exactly holding back. And it was great that the spectators had come out in their droves to see how a 4x4 should be driven, and they were getting lessons from the best there is.
Yep, Arnie, this is what the off-road scene is really about, going hard enough to be competitive, but also ensuring that the car would get to the end of the 400 k's of racing. Mountaineer Ivar Tollefson and his British navigator Quinn Evans were climbing those whoop-de-doos in their Nissan Navara very well.
While Chris Fuss and Jaapie Badenhorst in their Castrol Toyota Hilux with its distinctive look were in turn just 1 minute and 1 second behind them, and they were chasing hard, giving it horns early on in the prologue of the Nissan Dealer 400. As were these fellows, the multi-talented Alfie Cox and his co-driver Henny Tersteger in the all-new Motorrite SP. The new car had a few little things they were still working on, but it didn't affect their competitiveness. Well, no, to be honest, nothing really stops Cox. Rob?
Not even the rough and tough of the dry, hot and humid Western Cape shrub and grub. Ditto for Bevan Berthold and Robin Houghton, 7th in the SB class and going exceptionally strongly. Bev is quick, fitter and stronger, and after all the research and development that the Castrol Toyota team have done, it was showing. They were just 82 seconds behind Cox and Tersteger.
And Ford was hell-bent on keeping the top 10 blue and white van Tonda and Guapa in their Unifreight Ford Ranger, doing just that in 8th and backing up their senior team members.
Teamwork is everything.
And teamwork ably demonstrated there.
George and Sharon Barkhuizen have taken it to the extreme and test their marriage vows in car. But this time there was no need for that. They were debuting in the Rubicon Toyota Hilux and did a sterling job of it after campaigning last year in Class E.
And the 10th car in the SP class, the Micron XL Dealer Team Toyota 4-litre father and son Hichu and Jaap de Bruin.
And they were wringing every bit of speed out of the Hilux. In Class D, the Raceonics team of Kutsia Labuskachny and Johan Gerber was setting the pace. They had a scant 27-second advantage in their Nissan hardbody.
And talking new coats, that green front end meant that the Dalmas boys, Ramon Besaidnout and Stefan Locke, had charged into view. They were holding down 29th place overall, but putting pressure on for the lead in Class D. With Class E leaders Jannie Visser and Joks Leroux in their Barberspun Toyota just outside the top 30, but vitally 25 ticks ahead in class.
Of these guys, Thomas Rundle and Brian Roberts in the Barden Tyre Services entry, the 2.4-litre engine battle was tight. In fact, there were only 12 minutes off the pace set by the big bangers. The competition was tight.
Still in Class E, let's go in-car with the Ford boys, Jack Peckham and Lucio Santoro. Their diesel, however, wanted some immediate attention, which they then stopped to give the joys of off-roading.
That gave defending Class D 3-litre engine champions Cliff Weichelt and new nav Jimmy Goch a chance to scoot by in the good-looking N1 4x4 Toyota Hilux in third.
And after their 70k joint, it was Schrobler and Moore who led the 4-litre brigade in the SP class by 19 seconds from teammate and defending national champ Duncan Voss, who with Pitchford was in turn 55 seconds ahead of Grenier and Birkin in the first Toyota home.
Now let's join the special vehicle category, and the space frame vehicles were just a tad off the pace set by the production vehicles, but not by much.
Yeah, the rough and tumble was perhaps just too much up and down with the ditches and dongas, but not for Total Motorsport Shamir Variawa and Siegfried Rousseau in the big 7-litre Porter.
They had a 23-second lead over Big Brandon Harkis and the crafty customer Richard Leake. Their motorized Bat Spec 3 with its Big Beat Chev 6.6 motor was looking menacing, and they were eating up the Darling ground. Just listen to that Chevy purr.
The defending champions in the class, however, Evan Hutchison and Akim Bergman, head by next and were clearly in a fighting mood. The clock says 34 seconds behind at this point, and the motorized team had all their days to keep contact with their stablemate.
The specials have natural air conditioning, no windscreen, thus they are heavily affected by the dust. But you're welcome to ride along. Just hold on. It gets a little shaky with these cars.
Naim Mosaji and Rayon Budhanya here in third in the 70k prologue, and their Tyrak Jimco with its Chev 5.7-litre power was an awesome sight as it jumped the humps and bumps. They meant business. Karl-Heinz Silvot and son Quinton had a great win last year and turned out in screaming canary yellow. The Silvot Zarco Magnum LS1 with its big Chev engine stopped the clock 18 seconds behind Mosaji and Budhanya.
And let's not forget about Gary Berthold and newcomer Rally Suprema Pierre Aris in the Azure Bleu Atlas Copco Porter. This Porter features a rather large 7-litre Chev engine, and with a new man calling the roadbook, Berthold has a new lease of driving life.
David and Gary White in the Rubicon batting by and going absolutely flat out, while Johan and Etienne Besaidnout kept their Denko bat pointing in the right direction in Class P. And that's the rub here. 5 in a row winner Young Cry with a new nav Tito Vogt in the lead in Class B by more than a minute. Class of his own, this man.
And talking class, in the brand new Class P, Richard Schilling and Chris Davies were going at pace in their race car with its Nissan 3-litre engine.
Bez Besaidnout and Johan de Bruin right behind them, second in Class B, just 83 seconds behind and trying to keep it there. The Adenko bat sounded good.
And at the end of that quick tour of the Darling surrounds to determine starting position for Saturday's racing, Variawa and Rousseau, 23 seconds ahead of Motorized's brand new duo, Harkis and Leake, with Hutchison and Bergman ready to open the throttle on race day.
So the Nissan flags were flying high. After all, they were looking for title number 45 in 57 starts. Their new system, the fly-by-wire throttle control, worked like a dream.
Very, very good. We're very happy with the car. The car was excellent. The fly-by-wire that Lynn and them put on my car is working excellent. And yeah, we did a good time, and the roads was very good. John did very well on the navigation side. you know, and the route marking was very good. And I must say, yeah, it was a good prologue for us, and hopefully tomorrow, yeah, we're going to try and win it.
Being first out, what would the strategy be for race day? No dust, Duncan chasing?
So we'll have to go as hard as we can. Duncan is close second to us in production, and I know he's going to chase. He's the current champion, and yeah, I'm sure he's not going to give the win to us on a plate. I hope we can win it tomorrow.
For the Toyota lads, there was quite a conundrum.
Yes, we weren't too sure sort of how hard to push. There's a lot of contours and a lot of very bad dongas, but we had a reasonable pace. We're about a minute or so behind the Nissans, but it puts us in a good place for tomorrow. We're quite happy.
And how does the new car feel?
The new car feels a lot lighter than the previous car. The guys have put in a lot of work and it feels good.
Lots of youngs along here as well. In the Ford enclosure, there was, as always, quiet confidence, even after watching a fellow competitor, Atlas Copco's Nick and Ryan Harper, do a full pirouette.
It was good. It was pretty fast and rough. A couple of places where you could make some big mistakes, as I think some of the guys have. I think our teammates fallen in a hole and damaged the front suspension. Saw one of the specials went end over end, so a lot of things that could catch you out. We had to play it a bit cautious, but we had a good time trial, no problem, very fast. A little bit rusty after not being in the car for a month or two, so but no problems with the car. The route was well marked, no problems at all. So we look forward to tomorrow. I just hope the wind can keep blowing like it has today, and we should have a good run. The car felt good. We got a little bit of a worry with a starter motor problem, which we've had on and off the whole of last year, and it hasn't been a problem. And now suddenly, when I came to start it just now, it was a problem. So we'll see tomorrow, but we've got a plan for it, so I'm sure we'll be fine.
For Kutsia Labuschagne, there were a few early cobwebs to blast out before they got the Raceonics Nissan hardbody pointed in the right direction.
We had a fairly clean run there, you know. It was a couple of months since we last drive, and I think we were a little bit rusty in the beginning, and but there's some nice thick sand out there, but overall a very well marked route there, and I think we enjoyed it thoroughly. We'll look at what the times say and take it from there, you know. Tomorrow, like a guy says, still a long day, you know. We must do what the big boss, Mr. Hall, said. Go for as fast, for as long as you can, you know, and bring it home at the end of the day. Otherwise, it's all for nothing.
And then there were teams who misjudged the heaviness of the thick Western Cape sand.
Ag die prologue, ons het goed begin. Die dog ook aan die begin nie, ons het 'n fout op die engine want die bakkie wil nie loop nie. Toe sien ons net die sand is maar redelik dik. Die bakkie trek baie swaar en ons sien toe die ouens voor ons bly maar op dieselfde distansie en selfde met die ouens agter ons. Ons sien ons net dis maar die dik sand. Maar verder die bakkie het goed geloop, geen moeilikheid nie. Ons kan hom nou maar net was en berge vir môre en ek dink môre moet die ou maar net probeer die ry klaar maak, dan sal jy goed doen.
In the motorized camp, Brandon Harkes worked on his tan, while the team worked on the cars. But they had a fine time exploring the 70k prologue route.
We had a great time out there. First time for me and Richard Leek together, so that was a whole new combination. It was really exciting. You know, I look forward to the rest of the year with him because he's top man of the job. We took a little bit calm towards the beginning, first 10Ks. First time I've driven a car like under full race condition. So I was a little bit wary of it and, you know, didn't want to make a mess in the beginning. So took it a little bit calm, then we got more and more into it. Unfortunately, with 18Ks to go, I got stuck behind one of the competitors. But, you know, it goes like that. And unfortunately, with the screamers not working and the wind wasn't in our favor, so we just decided to, well, we tried hard to pass, but, you know, without doing anything stupid. And it's left us a little bit off the pace, but still, second frame or wherever we might be, I'm still very happy with that. And it's a very good attacking position to be in tomorrow, so I look forward to a good result tomorrow.
Someone who wouldn't be looking anywhere was Nick Harper. He and his son Ryan hit a massive ditch at 120 and properly broke the Atlas Copco bat.
Didn't get very far. It was about 750 meters on a right turn. And then there was a 950 meters ditch. We didn't pick the ditch up on the route schedule, and we hit it flat out, top gear. And saw it too late and kicked the car up, flicked it over, landed from a heck of a high height on the back of the car, and then it flicked over and landed on the wheels again. The damage is too bad, we can't fix it, so that's knocked us out the race.
Don't ditch us. Back after this.
Vehicle and asset finance from ABSA, overcoming all obstacles.
They say you go to India to find yourself. How do you find yourself amongst 1.136 billion people? They say you come here to define who you are as an individual. We've come here to define who we are as a team.
The South African tour to India. The voyage of discovery begins on the 26th of March. On your World of Champions. Delivered to you by RAM hand-to-hand couriers.
If you think attaining class in this game is a walk in the park, then there's something I think you should be watching. It's a half-hour golf fans treat filled with the latest news, tournament previews, player profiles and other gems from a world that you and I, my friends, can only dream of living. Or maybe not. Depends on how much you watch the show now, don't it? It's called the European Tour Weekly, because it's about the European PGA Tour, mate. Only on Supersport. Oh yeah, and it's brought to you by Telcom Business.
Vehicle and asset finance from ABSA, going the extra mile to get you financed.
The start of the 2008 ABSA off-road season proper is finally upon us, and it's Hannes Grobler who leads it off from the line. He has a slight 19-second advantage.
Yes, Robert, and he will want to get out to a good start before they get out into the rough country.
And he'll know that Duncan Voss will be chasing the taillights of his stablemate for as long as he possibly can, as fast as he possibly can.
And Voss starts off with intent. Look at the Nissan Navara 4-litre grunt. He left some rubber on the tyre and then out there on the dirt.
Look out, Voss and Pitchford on the war trail and not willing to take any prisoners.
Voss is a fitness fanatic, and he and Pitchford form a great partnership. It certainly worked last year when Duncan was unstoppable. 10 odd K's in, and Voss not having to travel in any dust, just far enough back to ensure that he would keep an eye on Grobler, but not get hampered by bad visibility.
And cautious, but quickly through the ditch.
And now let's make a comparison with how the specials tackled this little baby. This is Variawa and Rousseau just 10 seconds behind. They've dropped 5 further back. Voss going well, but then Variawa closes on him right here. Tough racing early on.
Harkison Leek, a veteran of off-road rallying, with some superb crafty moves up his racing suit sleeve, piloting that big motorized bat superbly, and also just staying out of dust in front of them on a rather wind-still day. Cronje and Birkin also flying hard.
Left 9, right 9, up to the top. Yeah, right.
This pair last year were within shouting distance of the finish line when they had 2 mishaps and had to relinquish victory. They were hoping for much better today. And the defending special category champ Hutchison with his co-driver Kim Bergman just 36 seconds in arrears as they pass this point and pulling out all the stops as they start catching the production cars.
With Naeem Musaji and Rayan Bodania in that tire rack Jimco Chevy-powered 5.7-litre special, chewing up the Western Cape off-road tracks as well. Tollefson and Evans very steady early on and doing the right thing, staying out of trouble early on and looking after the Nissan Navara as well.
But the dust gaps were closing and the drivers were starting to feel the pinch of little or sometimes no visibility.
Not that this stopped the Atlas Copco crew of Berthold and new man Pierre Aris, who were right at home at speed and clearly reveling in the conditions. Travelling inside the Ford Ranger with Woolridge and Schulthammer, the deep ruts and loose sand was steadily getting worse the further back you were.
And they were just up into the top 5, but keeping it loose, yet fast enough to be competitive. Collie and Quinton Silwald also let it all hang out, but they had hit a ditch and the throttler got stuck. The Zarko was revving at 4,000 revs per minute, not the ideal for this dry, dusty route.
And the Chris Visser-Yabi-Bardenos combination were holding their own too, clocking some fast intermediate times. The Castrol Toyota team looking in control.
And ditto for Alfie Cox and Henny ter Steege in the beautifully decked out Motorrad SP, the two-wheel Supremo clearly back in the zone. And then drama as Woolridge rounds the corner, a fire blazing in the distance. Certainly not a felt fire, and as the scene comes into view, Hutchison and Bergman's Motorrad back in big billowing flames.
And the other car there, that of Musaji and Burhania, also wrecked. Something big went on there. An unusual sight in ABSA's off-road racing, a burning special. Woolridge stopping without hesitation.
Up front, Grobler and Moore. Obviously, their combination was working well together. They were working on maintaining a 35-second advantage over their stablemate and workhorse, Duncan Voss, who was certainly in a fighting mood. Let's now go in car with Grenier and Birkin, who were themselves in a dogfight for third. 1 minute and 37 seconds off the lead and whittling it down. The Toyota pair starting off where they left off in 07 in a winning mood and ready to do more battle.
Woolridge and Scholthammer had given up a lot of time and places to help at the accident scene, where Hutchison and Bergman hit a ditch and rolled 4 or 5 times. And then the Tyre Rack team did the same, hit the Motorrad bat, which rolled again, so setting it alight in the process.
And here's the off-road dilemma. Dust, no visibility. Whoops. And the region team of Michael Whitehouse and Matthew Carlson, the sandwich in something which looks like a high-speed case of almost toasted Sami.
Now, let's watch Neil try to overtake the men in the Bat Spec 1 with the Chevy Corvette engine. And the Ford narrowly makes it through the gate ahead. Great racing in the ABSA Off-Road Championship.
And this, Rob, is just race 1 of the season. Grenier and Birkin whipping it along, trying to find the shortest possible route within the laws, and the Total Motorsport Porter of Variao and Rousseau here gaining time on them with every turn of the wheel. The 7-litre Big Beat machine was eating them for breakfast. And surely it wouldn't be long. Grenier makes way, and as we thought, the former SA champ Variao whips it right past on the way to what looked like a very fast clocking for the first loop of 166 Ks. And big news too from the route is that Grobler and Moore had stalled on a hairpin, and Voss and Pitchford, thus the new leaders.
That little mishap cost the multiple champ more than a minute, and on the way to the compulsory 15-minute designated service point, it was a Nissan 1, 2, and 4.
Voss whipping the big Nissan Navara 4-litre through its paces, and more importantly, dust-free, no one ahead, and just the wide open spaces of the Western Cape in front of them, as well as a burning desire inside them to succeed again.
But discount Grobler at your own peril. The stall may have cost him time, but that would only have made him more determined to succeed and get back to the top of the class. And he had already ripped back 35 seconds. The man is a machine.
And Variawa himself was on a mission to get as much of a lead as possible on the other specials. The Total Motorsport driver and his navigator Rousseau had eked out a very handy lead over Harkes and Leek in the Motorrad Bat. Marsh and Groenewald in the Regent were impressing in third, while Ruikon's Peter Ruthven and De Waal Boshoff were up into fourth.
Harkes with Leek riding shotgun in a special for the first time in a while was obviously having a great time, with Harkes doing the piloting, and the Motorrad crew were also peacefully unaware of what had happened to their team manager Hutchison, who was luckily unhurt and had to drag an unconscious Bergman to safety.
Grenier and Birkin third fastest through the early checkpoint, and with DSP round the corner were trying to close about a 3-minute and 17-second lead to Voss at the front.
With Grobler, the 2006 champion, and Moore, the new man of the Nissan squad, themselves trying to erase a 33-second gap. Fine driving after giving away so much time due to that lapse in concentration.
Some private pilots licensed stuff from Visser and Badenhorst in the Castrol Toyota as they held on for dear life in 5th and looking for all the world like podium contenders at this stage.
And with a designated service point not too far down the road, which meant some eat and drink and a clean visor again, the Regent lads Marsh and Groenewald were ideally set for their own podium in the special vehicle racing category.
With Alfie Cox ironing out all those little things that need to be straightened out in a new car, Ter Stege and he have been a formidable combination for a few seasons now, and it seemed they were getting to grips with their new charge.
Ruacom CEO Peter Ruthven and Deval Boshoff were putting together their best ride of their careers and were up into the top 10 comfortably, shunting that bat with a Chev 5.7 engine all the way to the first breathing stop of the day. With Berthold and Houghton not too far behind them and chasing as hard as only Bevan can.
Woolridge and Shorthammer were justifiably shaken up after helping out at the accident scene where Berhanya tore ligaments and muscles in his neck and back, while Bergman suffered concussion, but they were soon back in the groove.
On reflection, though, the Regent Racing team had 2 campaigners in the top 10, and the blue and yellow squad were sitting pretty. Muddy, but pretty.
Next, Denko's Johan and Etienne Besaindo charged through, doing a fine job and leading Class B, with the Micra and Excel dealer team appearing through the dust, rather magically. The husband and wife team, the Parkhuisens, were up into 8th place in the production class and looked like $1 million with a halfway mark approaching. And here's the second Ruacon car on the road. It's the brothers David and Gary White who had quietly and without fuss got into the top 10 and scared some more fancied opposition.
Guelpa and Fontana must have been scaring themselves at times. They were going so fast.
The Keymax team, Young Cry with Tiddo Vogt in their 2-litre Nissan Bat, were in awesome form yet again. Young won 5 races on the trot last year to close out the class championship and despite clutch trouble was going well. And in Class B, the competition was as tight as up front. Bez Besaidnout and Johan de Bruin making their bats sing along.
With Class D's depth and standard also showing, Ramon Besaidnout and Stefan Locke in their Toyota 4x4 machine eating up the ground. Followed rather closely by the Raceonics men, Coetzee Labuskaghni and Johan Gerber, rapidly descending back to Darling.
But the dust was a huge factor, and often drivers gave themselves a little room to let Mother Nature do her thing and blow away the worst of it.
And here's the other extreme. One driver desperate to go by, and often this is where the cars are broken. Ditches, ruts and dongas are hit at speed because teams get impatient. All part of the sport, but a tough learning school. In Class E, Visser and LaRue were setting the pace in clocking 2 hours and 29 minutes for the first loop in the Team Barbaspan Toyota and drove flawlessly.
With another Ruacon team, Loader Brain and Rudy Brits also still right in the thick of things in Class B.
And talking thick, the sand had been a problem all morning and the cars had worked extremely hard. For Thomas Rundle and Brian Roberts in the Barden Tyre Services Nissan Hardbody with its 2.4-litre engine, a good finish was on the cards. And campaigning for the first time in the SP class, the green and black Landy of Harold and Tian Kun trundled into view, looking for a finish to mark their debut.
The brothers Matt and Henry and Maurice had to battle to get their Roby Nissan going after the prologue, but the visual proof here was that they did, and then kept it going some more. Weichelt and Goch still in the hunt in Class D, and keeping the pressure on the Zermattens just a few ticks up the road. The Deploys Nissan, meanwhile, though, made it 2 for 2. A burning exhaust and a second burnt-out wreck. That, too, as the Motorite Bat was also burnt out completely. But at DSP, the Nissan crew was ready to give their men and their flying machines the break they deserved. Foss and Pitchford first after setting the fastest time of 1 hour and 59 minutes for the first loop. A fine drive.
Krobler next, 52 seconds behind on the clock. But remember, he lost a minute when he stalled it on that tricky hairpin.
Going well. The car's running perfectly. No problems. Ralph is doing a good job refining the route. Pace is quite quick, but everything is perfect so far. So hopefully it can carry on like this.
The bananas.
Corner's not marked. The corner's not marked.
Moore was happy with the pace, the route, and his pilot.
Well, it's very fast. The route is very well marked, and we're lying second at the moment, just behind Duncan and Ralph. But we're right on his tail. We're going out now. It's a very good route. Some very soft sand and quite fast.
For Variawa, it was a hard last stretch on the forearms, while his team had to figure out what was wrong with the power steering.
Clean run, just no power steering for the last 50 km, so we're trying to, basically we're battling it out the last 50 km, trying to keep the car on the road. But we're changing the pup and we'll be out. No problems, otherwise the car is running smooth, no punches.
For Toyota's Mark Grenier, it was as always a blast, a fast one.
Yeah, it's an awesome event. The guys have done a great job on the route markings. We've got a small snag, so we've had to take it easy for the last 40 Ks. But it's been good. I've enjoyed it. It's really been good.
In the Regent Racing paddock, there was still time for banter.
While forwards Woolridge and Schulthammer had caught up some time after stopping to help with the accident.
So far so good. Beautiful terrain. Hard work, you got to concentrate. But yeah, halfway we just got to keep it going. It's a big dogfight out there.
Anything up your sleeve for the next round?
No, I think we just got to keep it smooth. Don't want to climb up the car. That's it. Keep it on the road.
For the Ford boys, it was a tough start to the season.
Yeah, unfortunately, one of the guys had a big accident and the car is on fire, so we stopped to help put the fire out and spent quite a lot of time there, and so many people have got past us now, we're just battling in the dust. It's almost like follow my leader, so a bit frustrating at the moment, but you know, it's off-road racing, it's a sport. You've got to do if someone's injured or something's on fire. That's the rules. You've got to stop and help, which we did. So unfortunately, it's one of those things, you know.
Bevan Berthold was a little shy of racing fitness, but the big guy was being cautious for once.
A little bit dusty. Our qualifying was a bit slow yesterday, a bit rusty from not having practiced enough. So got caught with my pants down, but today it's going well. The Bucky's doing very well. Very hard in the dust to try and attack, because you can go wrong very easily. So we're just maintaining a pace, hoping to come home third, somewhere there. We're doing very nicely at this stage of the game. We've passed a couple of guys on the road, and it's quite a challenging track. So I'm sure fitness will come into it at the end. Hope we make up some places.
For Thomas Rundle, the loose stuff was providing some big headaches and a very sad face.
It's very thick, the sand, and we struggle a bit with this 2.4. But we'll keep going, and we'll try and see if we can catch Fisser, who's I think about a minute or two in front of us.
And that just told you how competitive the boys are out there. Voss leading by 33 seconds from the all-time great Grobler, with Mark Grenier chomping at their heels.
And in the special vehicle class, Team Total Motorsports Variawa and Rousseau enjoying a scant 28-second advantage over Motorite's Harkis and Lead. Marsh and Groenewald keeping the pressure on with a consistent drive.
Vehicle and asset finance from ABSA, going off the beaten track to find solutions.
They say you go to India to find yourself. How do you find yourself amongst 1.136 billion people? They say you come here to define who you are as an individual. We've come here to define who we are as a team.
The South African tour to India. The voyage of discovery begins on the 26th of March. On your World of Champions. Delivered to you by RAM hand-to-hand couriers.
Do you want to be famous? Whoa. You can be. Send
us photos or videos of you and your friends having fun, watching sport or fooling around at the game. Your photo or video could feature on the SuperSport Fan Zone. Send them now and have your few minutes of fame. Check out supersport.co.za for more details.
Vehicle and asset finance from ABSA, overcoming all obstacles.
With just 166 Ks of racing left, the pecking order established, and the racing is uncompromising as ever. The first round of the 2008 ABSA Off-Road Championship in the Western Cape for the Nissan Dealer 400 title is in full swing.
And so is Duncan Foss. The Nissan team looking comfortable and on familiar territory. The red and blue brand have always loved this event, and it was showing. Krobler in second and piling on the pace. In the specials, Brandon Harkis and Richard Leake leading the way, following up on their great showing in the prologue, keeping in mind that this was their first competitive drive together.
And Krobler, a man who has raced the Datsun and Nissan brand virtually all his life, trying to close the 30-odd second gap to his stablemate Duncan Foss, who still maintained it over him. The race is on.
And the order on the road still not quite settled. One little slip and the competition whizzes past you. The 2004 champion, Marshworth Groenewald, had clocked the third fastest time for Loop 1.
But on Loop 2, the route is ground up and the dust very heavy, and no wind to blow it away either. Visser at Badenhorst fighting for a view. And so is the old firm of Woolridge and Schothammer. But trouble for Cox and Tersteger. See just how quickly the cars can go by. The Ford Dio was smashing all the time checks on the second round of the Western Cape dirt roads and shrubbery.
In fact, these two former champions on 4 and 2 wheels have over the years built a great relationship, and in a race car fit together like an experienced racing hand into an old glove.
Up from almost nowhere to fifth and climbing. Cox and Tersteger enjoying their first run out in the new car, but having to sort out some of those small things along the way, like one has to do with new transport.
But they had company. Mickelin XL's Toyota Hilux 4-litre SB Challenge right behind them. And Berthold and Houghton in the Castrol Toyota were right behind them, with their teammates Cronje and Birkin having lost a few places, but still managing fine.
To the gate right. You put your headlights on.
Curtis, Rob, if you can read me, your headlights aren't on, over. Headlights aren't on.
Let's switch them on. Thanks, Robin. They're on now. Copy, thank you. What's the problem?
I know the whole back is just collapsed. I think the shocks have snapped, over.
Not good news for Toyota, but Regents, Whitehouse and Carlson up a half a dozen places and still picking past the field with a fine come-from-behind win. With the brothers Besaidnout keeping the pressure right there in the Adenko back.
But the interminable dust was going nowhere. The famous Cape wind had taken the day off, and the fine stuff was just hanging in the air. Foss, though, wasn't hanging around. They were second fastest through all the early checkpoints.
And guess who was third quickest? Krobler still fuming with himself about his stall. He and Moore were piling on the pace and the power.
The burly Nissan man is one determined character behind the wheel, that's for sure.
The De Brains had also picked up 6 places and were now into the top 6. A blast of a drive delighting the pit crew back at the sports field in Darling and the spectators at the low-level bridge.
With a little more than 100 Ks to go to complete the first race of the season, Regent Racing must have been all smiles too. Marsh and Groenewald had started off the day in 14th place, and here they were, 4th overall and leading the specials.
With another surprise package, Ruthven and Boshoff second after Variawa had lost 6 minutes repairing that power steering, and then another 15 with a fan belt problem.
Visser and Badenhorst in the 4th SP on the road, having a blast and still looking for more places to pick off ahead of them.
And the Ford Dio, Neil Woolridge and Kenny Schothammer stalking each car in front of them, picking up all the places they'd lost, and then some. It was low flying.
Toyota too were piling on the speed as Cronje and Birkin were trying to regain some lost time. And then Cox and Tersteger hooved it into view in the all-new Motorride SP. They were enjoying the route and its clear markings, but that was a universal feeling throughout the field.
And Rob, there's a scary sight. Shamir Varya was slightly irritated, having lost 21 minutes in one fell swoop and driving the Total Motorsport Porter like Meatloaf's backed out of hell. Stand back. And this spot is where the production cars battled in the loose powder, but not Whitehouse and Carlson, who were just plugging away. While Johan Besaidnout in the Adenko back was also still in a fighting mood.
The whites, David and Gary, were without doubt not so white anymore with all this dust, but they were up 6 places from 18th and having a great second loop.
But the dust was ruthless. One slight mistake and you were stuck for a while. Several teams had to help each other out. The brothers Besaidnout needed a rescuer here.
And the Rubicon team, the whites, were now also doing some amateur earth moving in their quest to escape. But here's one of the stars of the day. Father and son Cully and Quinton Sulvald in the Sulvald Racing Zarko. From 10th overall into 7th and making that Chevy engine sing along with a stuck throttle as well.
And the family weren't doing badly either. Herman Sulvald and Paul Helberg had a dreadful prologue, but it jumped a massive 47 places to occupy this one. 9th overall and 4th in class.
Fontona and Guelpa, the 6th SP on the road, and themselves up from 19th place overall to 10th. That Unifreight Ford Ranger sounded like it was asking for more.
Bez Besaidnout only had 1st and 3rd gear left, but you would never have said so. He and De Bruyn in sublime form and setting the pace in Class B by more than 20 minutes. Battling in the loose sand. And there were a whole lot of sob stories for the day, none more so than the whites.
Op Johan Besaidnout. So sterk geweest en toe het ons vas het in dik sand en ons kon nie in die gang kom nie. Toe George Barkhuis en ons team uit ons getrek uittrek en blyk my het sy clutch gebrand nou. Ons nou uitgekom en ons gaan nou maar weer in die gang kom.
And they got it going again in a big way. Weichelt and Goch too had avoided the big trouble and were nailing some big scalps on the way. With Coetzee Labuschagne and Johan Gerber up from 28th to 19th and pushing hard in Class D.
Visser and Leroux had taken the lead in Class E, but it was certainly a close-run thing.
It definitely was a close thing, Arnie, because Thomas Rundle and Brian Roberts in the Barden Tyre Services Nissan Hardbody was just less than 4 minutes back. The race was on here.
And in Class B, it was the Luke Africa entry of Gil Nel and Dion de Kock who were in the lead in the B class. But they also could not relax because Alistair Stubbs and Mark de Chalane in 2nd were chasing as hard as they could to close a 14-minute gap.
The Staffik Racing team in their Viper with its 2-litre Toyota engine was up into 18th place, all the way from 33rd after the prologue. How's that for big jumping?
Indeed, they were virtually jumping rope and talking jumps. No such luxuries for Nick Gosler and Richard Carolyn in the men's health race go. They were the only Class P car left on the road and were happy to just cruise home.
And in Class E, there were only 2 entries left, and they were led by Jack Peckham and Lucio Santoro in the Ford Ranger 2.5 diesel, who were protecting a big lead.
By now, more than half the field had given up the ghost, but not the Zermattens in their Roby Nissan in Class D. They just kept plugging away, and quite quickly too. And so did the Kuns in their green and black Landy in their SP class. They were 23rd overall after a terrible prologue and hoping to see the finish line.
And racing with a proud blue bull on the bonnet, Wynand van der Linde and Seerfie van Schalkwyk in their Toyota Hilux were patiently bringing it home in Class E.
Sure, Nas would be proud. Back in Darling, the Nissan celebrations were starting. Duncan Foss clocking 4 hours and 44 minutes, leading the way home.
Duncan had a massive 2007 season and seemed to seamlessly pick up where he left off. A perfect drive from the diminutive man with a big heart.
Krobler hit a ditch early on in Loop 2 and damaged a wishbone, and that did not help his cause. He and Moore were 36 seconds back.
For Voss, a fine win. And for Nissan, a 45th victory since 2001. They are dominant in the sport right now. And Voss was the same. Perfect out there.
We had a perfect weekend. It started off on a good note on Thursday when we shook the cars down and they felt really good. And I thought we were going to be in for a good weekend after Thursday. But it was perfect. You know, we didn't have one little bit of drama with the car. It ran perfectly. No funny noises, nothing. Rafi was great. And Hannes made one mistake. I think he stalled his car on one of the turns and we passed him, and that's the name of the game these days. You cannot make a mistake. It's so competitive.
Marsh and Whitehouse celebrated a timely return to form to clinch the special vehicle win, just over 5 hours worth of driving for them.
With Ruthven and Bosov second, 34 seconds in arrears. Pretty close, actually.
Great start to the season, great start. We've worked really hard, both in the workshop and ourselves, myself and Peter, really worked hard through December and January on our fitness, making sure we can keep our intensity up. Came off a bad year last year, and it's just nice to see everything paying off. It really has.
Peter, tell us more about your driver.
No, Terence was proper today. He was proper, very few mistakes, lived the intensity. And yeah, I know, it was nerve-wracking at times with Peter chasing us the whole time. But yeah, it was awesome feeling. I'm just glad it's over now.
Which really tells you just how hard the Darling conditions really were out there. Visser at Badenhorst came home in 4th place in the SP class.
Yeah, the day was great for us. Just a pity for the two specials that had that accident this morning. But other than that, we had a great day. The first lap we had a small problem with the reverse, so we got stuck about 34 minutes at a place where we couldn't reverse. So one or two guys came there to help us, just to push the bucky backwards. So, but otherwise than that, yesterday we had a great day. Yes, nothing wrong, nothing. The bucky was excellent.
For Woolridge, it was a tough day in the office.
Yeah, it's been a good day. It's been a bit of a frustrating day, unfortunately. You know, with the accident this morning, stopping for the fire, that kind of like I lost my concentration completely. I must say, the whole of the first lap, I really battled to sort of get back into the groove. But once we got to the refuel and had something to drink and kind of like focused again, it was quite well. We caught up to Alfie and the other Ford quite quickly, and he very kindly let us past. And then, unfortunately, we got stuck behind some of the guys that passed us during the fire episode, so it was difficult because the dust was so bad. I don't know what happened to the wind from yesterday, but yeah, a bit of a frustrating day, but you know, the rules are the rules, and sportsmanship, you have to stop and help. It was the right thing to do. Everyone said, how long did you stop for? I said, I don't know, about 4 or 5 fire extinguishers. I don't know how long that is, but I'm glad. I think the guys are all right. I don't think anyone's seriously hurt, which is the main thing, but to see those two cars completely burnt out like that is terrible. It's a terrible sight.
But not a terrible sight for Nissan.
No, sir. Nissan shooting for an unprecedented 8th consecutive championship, and 3 of them in the top 4. Woolridge and Schulthammer, though, would have raised a few eyebrows by clocking the fastest last loop. That spells danger for the rest of the teams.
And the special class, a great return to winning form for Marsh and Groenewald.
Until next time, you keep it on the road.
And we'll keep it off-road.
That was the ultimate test, the ABSA Off-Road Championship. Now fast-track yourself with